Good evening and welcome from Nairobi. We had a very cold, rainy day here today, and I understand the weather's better on the coast, and I hope you're enjoying your time. I'd like to thank, first of all, the Bloodlink Foundation and their partners at the Kenya Red Cross, Hope Worldwide, and the National Blood Transfusion Service, part of the Ministry of Health, for organizing this important forum. I'd like to talk to you for the next couple of minutes about a very important part of General Motors' corporate social responsibility agenda, and that's the donation of blood. General Motors was formed in 1975 with our assembly plant up here on the corner of Enterprise and Mombasa Road, and I hope most of you had a chance to drive by and see us. It's a very important part of our corporate culture to give back to the communities that we serve, and our employees at General Motors East Africa are very proud of the fact that over the last 27 years, we've been consistently the largest single corporate blood donor in the country. And this is something we're very proud of. The reason that we're together this evening to discuss this very important subject is because there's a tremendous need for us to work together as the private sector and to have corporate support maintaining an adequate supply of blood in the 8 blood banks that have been established throughout the country. A little bit of history. Of course, there's always been a need for blood, as there are regular surgeries, there are transfusions that are required on a day-to-day basis without the impact of disasters and accidents. But unfortunately, here in Kenya and throughout East Africa, we do have more than our share of problems that come up. And starting back with the embassy bombing in 1998, where over 200 people were killed and over 5,000 people were injured, I think that event brought to light the need to work together to maintain adequate supplies of blood for those disasters. Add to that the road accidents that we have from time to time, and then unfortunate skirmishes like we had and trouble like we had in Marsabit a couple weeks ago, and other such incidents, again, highlights the need for us to work together to make sure that we're able to maintain an adequate supply of the badly needed resource of blood. And it doesn't have to be a negative. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. In fact, at General Motors East Africa, we've managed over the years to turn it into a very positive team building and a leadership opportunity for inside our corporate culture. But before I go into that, I also wanted to make another point that many of us may be aware that some of the largest needs for blood come from groups of people that are rarely able to help themselves. Children in malaria-prone areas who need transfusions, pregnant mothers who need transfusions. In addition to the national disasters, there's a tremendous demand for blood. And as I mentioned earlier, there are 8 banks located throughout the country, and I think the focus of the conference down here on the coast this evening is to make sure that the corporates and the private sector are engaged to help keep the Mombasa blood bank filled to capacity with the badly needed blood. So a couple things also that you'll probably hear from maybe some of the other speakers tonight is that blood has a shelf life. Just like some of the products that we produce here in Kenya, blood lasts for about 30 days, and there are many types of blood, some much more common than others. So it's really important and it's critical to have corporates work together to overcome the stigma that has been attached to donating blood, because we're in an area where HIV/AIDS and other needle-transmitted diseases may scare people away from doing what's necessary. So the folks that are organizing this forum are the regional and the country experts on how to manage this kind of a program with corporates in a way where your employees and your management teams will feel safe. In fact, I think as I'm to give you some suggestions to try to engage you in this, I will tell you that the most important aspect of developing a blood donation program for your company is to take a leadership role. I've found out over the years that I've been here that if I show up on the first hour of the first day of the activity and I lay down and donate blood myself, and it's communicated to those members of my team that are maybe on the fence and aren't sure if they want to donate blood or not, that it's amazing to watch how many people will say, okay, let me give that a try, because this is a very professional process. The people at the Bloodlink Foundation, it's really a one phone call activity. You contact them after you've made your internal arrangements. They show up with the medical technology, with the staff that's required to support it. All the needles are sealed. Everything is just as world-class as you can imagine. It's like donating blood anywhere around the world. So the first message I have to you, beyond the message of the fact that we need so much blood to be donated, is that it's really a great leadership opportunity. It can be a significant part of your corporate social responsibility agenda, and it can actually improve the culture of your company, as there are many people who want to donate blood and maybe just don't feel like they have a well-organized process or one that they trust. So the people at Bloodlink and their partners will show up with all the people, with the beds, with all the equipment, and all you need to do is organize time for your staff to take a few minutes off of work. It just takes a few minutes to be counseled, and on top of that, one of the things we're very proud of and we're very fortunate at General Motors East Africa is we have a very low incidence of HIV/AIDS amongst our employees. And part of that reason is because every time they donate blood, they're able to confirm their status. Now, it's not a required part of it, it's just a side benefit. And it's always good, as you know, to know your status wherever possible. So it can break down many barriers, it can save so many lives, it can add to your corporate social responsibility agenda, it can help you give back to the community, and it can help you do all these things. It's something that's also very important to the private sector, as we're in business for profit, and that's that it's totally free. There isn't a single bit of cost involved with this. In fact, you benefit significantly, as I mentioned earlier, from the improvement in your corporate culture, that you can get this for free. The only thing you have to pay for is the phone call to Bloodlink, and after that, the whole process takes place. So I also would like to encourage you that if you have, from this conference and this forum, these discussions, if you have any questions, that you can contact me at General Motors East Africa up here in Nairobi, and I'd be happy to discuss it further. You can stop by and we can talk about it face to face, or in fact you can decide to come and visit us the twice a year that we donate blood. Come and see how we actually do it and experience it yourself. So in closing, I'd like to just remind all of you that there's no place you can go buy blood. No one makes it. It comes from us. We're donors from our very young ages, and it's at some point when you reach a certain age, you're able to donate blood. And in some cultures around the world, blood donation starts including here in Kenya, in schools. And we can't get the blood we need by relying on our students. This is something that needs to be shared at all levels of society and throughout all the age groups. So as you're sitting there watching me speak to you tonight and you're thinking, gosh, I don't know if I want to have somebody stick a needle in my arm, believe me, it's worth it. It's worth it for your company, it's worth it for your individual staff members, and most of all, it allows the organizations that are involved in this tremendous activity to maintain their work, to keep their blood banks stocked with this precious commodity. And it's also a tremendous way to give back to the community, and it's so easy, it's so cheap, and it's a wonderful thing to do. I'd also take the opportunity to recognize a number of other corporates who are already involved in this activity, because I believe you'll see a consistency amongst these companies. These are all companies that have a strong corporate social responsibility agenda. It improves their business, and of course, as business people, we always like to do things that help our bottom line, but in this particular case, it's a win-win situation for companies like General Motors East Africa, for companies like Safaricom, Kenya Commercial Bank. These are all organizations that are leaders in their industries. And when you look at the common denominator with those companies, I think you'll find out that you can trace a lot of it back to their commitment to corporate social responsibility and giving back to the community and taking leadership roles in those areas where there's extra work required, because as you know, as I said earlier, it's not always the first, when you wake up in the morning, and there are very few people that wake up in the morning saying, gosh, I hope I get a chance to donate blood today. So you have to be convinced, and it has to be part of your culture to motivate your staff and your management teams to do what's necessary and to take a leadership role in trying to change the corporate culture or the culture of your company, so that people understand that there shouldn't be a stigma. It doesn't hurt. You don't feel bad afterwards. It's something that in 20 minutes all you've done is save a life. So I encourage you, if you're able to see me and hear me speak to you this evening, that you make a point tomorrow to call Bloodlink and book an activity at your company so that you can experience the wonderful feelings that you get when you're doing something as wonderful as saving lives, and it's just a wonderful feeling. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me tonight, and thank you to Bloodlink for organizing this forum. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me in my office in Nairobi. Thanks and good evening.